Good evening, everyone. Replay viewers and live viewers. My name is Dr. George Kosmides. Hey, Donna, first one on. Wow. Annie the nurse, thanks for joining. Amy, Lucretia, all those sound familiar to me. Hello, hello. Hey, Donna, you're in Anchorage, Alaska? Holy smokes. That just sounds cold. Hey, Salman, thanks for joining. Salman, you're still in Pakistan. Wow. Hey, Trish. Good evening. Girls Rush fan. Okay. Hey, Amy. Hio. Annie the nurse, thank you for inviting your followers. JB team, thanks for joining. Mr. White Bulger, thanks for joining. So I got confused on the pics. Oh, Anchorage, I've never been. But I know what Detroit is like it in wintertime. Hey, there's Annie the nurse. Another great success story. Thanks for joining everyone on tonight's scope. It's something I've been asked to do again. And down to 310. Why am I not surprised? It's just water off a cat's back now. So thank you all for joining, and I'm going to keep welcoming people. Jody's calling. Hey, Jody's calling. Hey, Jody. Yeah, that's right. Stardust 4000. Thanks for joining. Hey, Lynn, you've been following me for a while. Thank you for retweeting me, and thank you so much. Very kind of you. As all of you have been doing that for me, thank you so much. So I'm about 95%. Still a little bit sore, but much better. It was definitely a success. I'll probably do another one in mid-December at MUA. Coffee cup? Yeah, but it's got my pro-arginine in it. Detroit times 10. You ate 3 rolls tonight. 3 rolls. I don't know what a roll is, but hey, you're the boss. You run your ship. You run your ship. So thanks for joining. My name is Dr. George Kosmides. I'm a licensed doctor of chiropractic in a few states. I've been practicing here in California the last several months. I've been licensed here since about 20 years. And I lost my father to type 2 diabetes complications at 56 and my 2 uncles at 55 and 31. That was in the mid-90s. I wrote everything I could about diabetes, and I wrote my 4th book, Life Without Diabetes, which is available at Amazon, and actually teach this Saturday continuing education hours to doctors here in Burbank, California. I teach from 7 to 2, and then another doctor comes on and teaches hormones, Dr. Sarah, excellent physician. But tonight's topic's on myths versus facts on diabetes. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think the best way to think about that is if you think 2 + 2 = 5 enough, and enough people say it, eventually it will be. So I want to clear the air on facts, and then I'll open the floor to questions. So I'm going to go through a real quick quiz, and then once you get through the quiz, if you have questions for me regarding diabetes, again, I teach this. I don't treat diabetes, but help you to support the body that has it, and when you do that, you can see magnificent things begin to happen. I've had patients in my office with blood sugar over 800 and A1Cs over 21, and we've got them normalized within 3 months, all under their primary care physician, and all to the amazement of their friends and family. So that being said, let me go through the quick quiz, and I'll answer any questions. If you're new to the scope, just pop in and say, I'm new, or hey, and give us a shout. We're all family here. We're all trying to support each other. I'm trying to teach you fundamental things to help you improve your life and your health reasonably. Every time I get Sal, I get the ones. I'm not sure I follow that, but yeah, A1C over 21, and the highest blood sugar I've seen was 817, and we got him normalized in about the 150 range in about 3 months. So yep, I've seen it. I know we're not taught that in school, that we shouldn't be seeing people above 500, but I've seen it consistently. Okay, a quick quiz. Here we go. And you can put a Y or an N and participate in the quiz. This is actually taken right out of my book, Life Without Diabetes. This is my sister, and she's inspiring me to follow. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. As Amy would say, crack that egg. Okay, quick quiz number 1. Which of the following statements about type 2 diabetes do you believe that are correct? Type 2 diabetes is incurable and irreversible, but researchers are closing in on a cure. How many of you think that is correct? Put a yes. How many of you think it's not correct? Put an N. Both. Okay. 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 Okay, great. Second question. I'll answer those at the end. I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, these are all in my book. They're in the third page of my book. Type 1 childhood diabetes is purely a genetic problem. There's nothing you can do about it except take insulin injections and hope for a new research breakthrough. True or false? Or T or F or Y or N. I think T or F. Let's go with true or false. Okay, that's false. True. Okay, true. Kind of a mix of true and false. How can you be closing in on a cure for something? Interesting perspective. False. Okay, good. I want you to think. Number 3. Prediabetes or insulin-resistant diabetes is a common blood sugar abnormality that you can live with and is considered normal so long as your glucose levels are controlled with medications. True or false? Okay, pretty much a one-sided false on that one. Okay. Good. And here comes the last one. Diabetes is no big deal. By closely monitoring your blood sugar and following your doctor's orders, you can enjoy a normal life and escape the horrific complications of diabetes like nerve damage, eventual blindness, loss of limbs through amputations, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, renal failure, and peripheral neuropathies. So it's no big deal. Is that true or is that false? Okay. Oh, Trish is emphatic about that. So wrong. Okay, great. False. Correct, false. Okay, so on that quick quiz, I gave 1, 2, 3, 4 questions on true or false, and guess what? They're all false. Type 2 diabetes is incurable and irreversible. That's false. Type 2 diabetes is an acquired condition. It used to be called acquired diabetes, and it's changed through the years. And what's happening is it's becoming so common, it's mythologically turning into, oh, well, you're predisposed to it. So if you see something enough, you end up believing that that's the case, and it's not accurate. They're all false. That's correct. So again, in my book, Life Without Diabetes, I give the factual research data. And in my class, I'll be teaching again this Saturday, I give all factual data. So it's not my whim, it's not my opinion, that's irrelevant. Type 1 childhood diabetes is purely a genetic problem. There's nothing you can do about it. Again, that's another falsehood. What I teach in my book and in my class and in my Lean Body 360 program is there's foods that create an insulin expression. They cause the body to release a lot of hormones, namely insulin. And if we can begin to curb those foods out of our diet, we lower that expression. And even the type 1 can see major improvements, even in the reduction of medication and the ability to stabilize their blood sugar longer. So some of them genetically may not be able to get off it, but they can go. I mean, I've had patients working with their primary lower their dosage by 70-80% just by following the meal plan in the book and being real mindful about what they're doing and understanding the difference between a high load and a low load carbohydrate. So there's always something you can do, even if there's a genetic predisposition or a genetic factor that's identified. Again, it has to be identified. The C-reactive protein test correlated with an A1C, and if those are both positive, they should be rerun in 30 days to confirm that disorder. Okay? Prediabetes or insulin resistance is a common blood sugar abnormality. So it's considered normal. It's not normal. That's another falsehood. It's not normal. Prediabetes means your body's having a hard time processing the sugars that you're eating, usually because of two factors. You're eating foods that are nutritionally have a low density and have a high glycemic load. So your body is asked to put out a lot of hormones, namely insulin, but it's not given the nutritional support to produce that insulin. So the person runs behind, their blood sugar climbs, and eventually they'll be considered a type 2 diabetic. And finally, the fourth one, diabetes is no big deal. If you monitor your blood sugar and take your meds and leave all the responsibility to your meds and your doctor, you'll be fine. That's totally false. My father had normal lab work for the last 10 years of his life. He died at 56. But all of that was controlled synthetically. He was on statins and metformin and glucophage and other things. And he thought that since his blood work is relatively normal, he was healthy. And that the research doesn't support that argument. So again, those are the quizzes, and it's all taken from my book, and I back it up with peer-reviewed research. In my book, there is, at the very back of the book, let me see how many, I think I have 68 peer-reviewed research references. Let me look really quick. There are 66 references, and I would say at least half of them are peer-reviewed research references. So, don't get mad at the messenger. Don't get mad at the message or the messenger. Get mad at the facts. And that's the book right here. So you can get the physical copy on Amazon. I've been asked, how come we don't talk about it anymore? It's still there. And you get the ebook copy for about half the cost of the physical book. And it's an easy read. I designed it, and it has meal plans in it, similar to my Lean Body 360 program. But the first part of the book gets into the mechanisms of why this is kind of overlooked. It's a global epidemic. By 2040, the CDC says, well, there will actually be 1 in 3 of us will be diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. Totally unreasonable and totally unacceptable. And there's a lot of things that we can do about that. So please don't take, if you're taking medications, I'm not here to tell you to stop, but you have to be proactive with what you're doing with your lifestyle. It's crucial. And if there's a doctor that's telling you that he's not looking at the research. Do you still put coconut water, oil, and water? Yes, I do. I still do that. So again, sometimes the truth is a bitter pill to swallow, but I think we need to look at ourselves honestly and kindly and say, okay, what am I doing to help my disposition, whether it's diabetes, whether it's type 1, type 2, or pre-diabetes. Is actually now coming out with a type 1.5, which is, again, the insulin resistant type, because there's just so much of it. The youngest type 2 diabetic I've seen, she was 13 years old. She was morbidly obese. But some of the worst diabetics I've seen, numbers-wise, were not obese. 771, he was in his late 60s. He was about 6'4", about 165 pounds. So they could run the gambit. And Andy the nurse, a couple other healthcare practitioners, their eyes were probably spinning, but I've seen numbers over 700 consistently when I practiced in Hawaii. Consistently. Yeah, that's unfortunate. He needs it to really take a step back and before things get out of hand. Did you get my... Yeah, that's fine, Amy. You can do that. Just be real mindful with the amounts. Hey, Kathy. So again, we all know someone that's a diabetic or pre-diabetic. And once you begin to watch my scopes and watch my replays, you can go to Lean Body 360. You can have access to all my, I think I have like 140 previous scopes. I try to give specific topics, but the premise of health is all the same. I have chronic flank pain. What's up with that? Don't know. Your kidneys are on your flank. Usually, though, it could be so many things. It could be so many things. It could be a kidney problem. You could have bruised your obliques. Big Daddy Hunk, welcome. My socks are too loose. It's a tough, fatty liver. In most cases, if you're unhealthy, that's usually one of the organs that takes the most abuse, especially if you're heavy. It can be a little bit of a fat. But usually it's not going to be in the flank for the pain. The liver's right underneath your right rib cage. So your liver sits right here. So usually if you have some gallbladder issues or congestive liver, you eat a fatty meal, usually people will feel achiness right in here. And there's several things you can do to help your liver. I'm barrel-chested. Have you lost? Here's another. Again, this goes back to my Chinese training. From a Chinese perspective, again, this is just looking at everything, but this is just one aspect. COPD, no question. People with weak hearts normally talk in a whisper. They don't have any bass in their voice. And you'll see them over time. They'll start whispering and get softer and softer. And you'll see also a person with a heart weakness, they'll sigh a lot. So there's things you can do to strengthen your heart. You're not, once you have type 2 diabetes or fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue, it's not a death sentence. You can do a lot of things to help yourself. Hello, Lakshmi. I wish, my father would have listened. He called me up for help probably the last 2 months he was alive, and he started to do a little bit, but once he started to feel better, he went back to his old ways. He woke up with his his back molars were loose. One of them fell out while he was sleeping. That's really unhealthy, because the last thing your body wants to do is lose his teeth. And he called me up in fear. I said, go see your primary, go see this, naturopath who was a nutritionist back in Las Vegas. He gave me excuses. Oh, it's better now, and he blew it off. And then, he took his treadmill stress test on April 9th, 1994, I think it was. And he was dead, 6 days later after getting a clean bill of health. So don't judge your symptoms. I have no medical insurance. Well, the person that you need to get insurance is in the mirror. Get on a program. I have a Lean Body 360 program. It'll help you regain your health at the very least. I don't treat any diseases. So Hashimoto's syndrome, it's a labeled disease. But the question is, and like I teach my doctors in the class on Saturday, what are you doing to improve the health of the person? And in fact, I'm going to add several slides. There's a lot of new research coming out that the disease model is failing. Treating the disease in and of itself is failing. What you want to do is support the person that has the problem, not treat the individual disease. It's almost like you got to look at the whole person rather than nitpicking one particular illness with them. And they're saying that's a failure. This was PubMed, I think it was in the Lancet. I'll have it in my class, and I'm going to scope my class with a wired mic this time, so you guys won't get I think I did it on a Bluetooth mic, and it ran out of its use because I teach 6 hours. I wanted to learn so much more about real nutrition. Now I'm hungry for it. Good. You should be. That's all right, Annie. And, it's interesting. Once you save your life, and I see a lot of people who, in their mind, they're on their last leg, and you help them pull themselves out of it, and a month or two goes by, now they want more. Thank you. It's not about they want to save their life anymore. Now they want to travel with their family. They want to fly back and see their friends. They want to go to their 30-year high school reunion. So as your health improves, your motivation naturally comes. Okay, well, high cholesterol, you have to understand, don't confuse fitness and athleticism with health, lab work. You have to look at your lab work. You look at food completely different when you see, that's exactly right. I'm 3 months in, and so much has changed for me. I mean, this lady is, she's an example of what's possible with someone that's extremely obese. You lost a lot of fat, I see in your eyes or sockets. Yeah, I've lost a lot of body fat. I went from 183, I'm about 170. I lost about 10 pounds, and I would say a good 90% of that was fat through this L-arginine 9 Plus that I've been drinking. And cardiovascular fitness, I feel great. I can ride 8-10 miles, and I live up a hill, so I have to pedal up a hill when I get home about 3 blocks, and it's no problem. So, again, don't confuse athleticism, thank you, with being healthy. If you Google athletes that have died in 215, you'll see athletes in their 30s, 40s, looks like physically muscular and top shape, cardiovascular, renal failure, cardiovascular. I mean, it doesn't mesh. Annie, how do you like the E9? Pretty interesting. I don't know if you started taking it or not, but I love it. And just remember, just like Amy on My Hot Sacks, follow her. She was morbidly obese, 355. She started with me. Also, it's inflammation in the body, cholesterol. Well, I talked about cholesterol last time. I probably should mention it again. I can explain the fundamental basis of arterial plaquing. If you folks want to hear it, if with a Y, if enough of you say it, I'll explain it. It'll take me about 5 minutes. I can explain it again. I don't know if Annie was on the last time I spoke about that. Yeah, but your fiber has to be real food fiber. They're finding out now that the pills and the powders that go in the water, they're not as effective. The body doesn't handle them the same way. Okay. Cholesterol, LDL, HDL, the ratios. Yeah, I got my body fat. You got to get it. You got to get it below 25. You're supposed to tell the story of the man. Oh, that's right. You don't let me forget anything. Okay. Here's what I'll do. I'll tell the story about the man because today was on today's talk is focused on diabetes on my book, and I teach my class on Saturday. So I'll talk about the. Let me go back a moment. We all know someone with type 2 diabetes. And in fact, now that you're here watching my scopes, your wheels are going to start turning. Eventually, you're going to approach someone in your family that has a problem. Because now you may think, oh, Dr. George talked about this, so I've got some ways to help this person. Remember, we're not talking about cures. You help their health, you'd be amazed what can happen. So let me tell you a story that when I was an intern, thank you for the hearts and the shares. When I was an intern in school, I drove past the same coffee shop every morning. Yeah, 1 second. A company just got sued in Hawaii for selling weight loss products, and I think you're going to be left wanting, and it's not something I endorse by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, we're getting finite. Let me tell my story, then I'll tell you the cholesterol myth that we're led to believe. So I drove past this coffee shop every morning, and there was a guy there that had two canes. One was about mid-belly, and one was about mid-shoulder because he was so bent over. He had real bad scoliosis. He had patches of hair gone. He had eczema, which is a bad dried rash. He had one eye was totally red. In other words, there was no white. It was just blood in his eye, so he's bleeding into his eye. I mean, tumors on his face. I mean, just, like the John Merrick of the 1980s, because I graduated early 90s. So I drove past this coffee shop every day, and he would be in different stages because I had to be on the clinic floor at 8 a.m. And I went there early, and I said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can help this guy. I had adjusted some small baby and got some really good results early in my internship. So I thought, wow, I can help people. This is great. So I got there about 15 minutes early. I sat at the same table that he sat at because I would go there in different, 2 or 3 minutes, and he would be in different stages of walking to the coffee shop. So I would get there a few times, and he'd already be sitting down. So I knew where he sat, so I sat on the other side of that table, and I waited for him to come. Now, mind you, I had practiced a speech the night before about how I'm going to talk to this guy because I was scared to death because he had every malady that I could think of. He had. I mean, to look at him, it made you want to bring tears to your eyes. So I sat down at the coffee shop. He came and saw me there, and I could tell he was apprehensive to sit there, but he sat on the other side, which I was hoping he would, and he did. And his head was down, and he smelled bad. I mean, it was bad. So I said, my name is George Kosmides. I'm an intern. We have a clinic here. We can do your lab work and do your x-rays. And normally I think it was $15. I said, I'll pay that, which I never paid for patients before, but I was going to be willing to pay for him. I said, I'll take you. We'll get you examined. We'll do some form of treatment to help you. I don't think anyone that I know can cure you, but we'll try to help you. And I'll pick you up once a week, and I'll take you to the clinic, whether it's physical therapy, adjustment, whatever it is. And I was expecting some, outpouring of support. Let me tell you, he cussed at me, and he said every foul word you can imagine. He threatened to call the police on me. He asked for the manager to evict me. I mean, he threatened to hit me with his cane. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was totally opposite of what I thought of. And I used to tell this story a few years ago, and I would get teary. I don't anymore because I get it now. I get what was happening. It clicked in my brain about 10 years ago, but I really got it. So I left in tears, and it bothered me for a long time. But you have to understand, I knew, and I'll bet you everyone that saw him knew that he needed care. But guess who the person was that didn't think he needed anything? Him. So please be mindful and realize your heart, that you're opening up your heart when you do that. And we should. I'm not trying to tell you not to. Thank you. But don't be surprised about the reaction you'll get. You might get, hey, mind your business and all this sort of stuff. I think the best way to do it is, I'm sorry you have some health problems. Would you be open to any help? And the next person who talks wins. So don't keep chasing the answer. That's right. And that way it's hard for someone to get mad at you and saying, would you like some help? Like, I didn't do that with that man. If I should have said, hi, my name is George, I see you having some physical problems. Would you like some help? He might not have berated me, but I had this pre-laid out speech that I thought he was going to think I was, the best thing since, I don't know, ionized whey, but it didn't work out that way. So that was my initial whoa moment, when you never know what response you're going to get. So just be kind and have a loving heart and offer care in a nice way, and it's hard. So that's my story. So now the atherosclerotic plaque. I actually talked about this last night on my scope, but it's worthy because it's another myth that's out there. People have gotten onto me forever to do something, but when I was ready, boom. That's right. That's right. There's an old saying that makes more sense the more mature I get. No, I don't do sliced bread. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's why every night that I do my scopes, there's always someone that comes in here. I want to do your program. I want to do this. Okay, here, go to this link. Sign up. See Andrew. Maybe 20% of them do. The other 80%, they're just not ready. And that's okay. I don't want someone going into my program if they're not ready to make a change. And it's not a massive change. I mean, come on, if I can get a lady who's 350 pounds to drop over 40 pounds, in a short time, well, you have to come to grips. You have to realize that, how much is your health hurting your life? You know what I noticed? Bread is so many damn calories for one slice. Yeah. Yeah. Big Daddy, I'm at 300. Okay. So the lady, Amy, she's going to be at 300. So you guys can be the same weight, but she was at 350. So now let me talk to you about atherosclerotic plaque. I know we all do. We all do. Wow, 350. Okay. So let me explain this. I hope it makes sense to you guys. If it makes sense, make a yes. Don't freak out. Okay? Be calm. And then carry on with a game plan. And once you learn the things that I teach, they're practical. There's no argument, because it's not me. It's all based on research. That's why I have nurses, and I think a bariatric surgeon praises my work. That's fine, because it's all based in research. It's not me. I'm just the messenger. Unfortunately, over the years of doing this and being a patient myself, you have to put it in terms that the average person can understand. And it can't be so far-fetched that, I see a lot of it. I see a lot of people, professionals with good intentions, trainers and physicians, have programs, but you look at the contents of the program and they're so far away from where the person is at, there's no way they can possibly follow that. And the few that do, you see them sometime later, and I've done that, they fall away because it's too socially depriving, and you can't have a program like that. So on my program, there's pork, there's eggs, there's butter, all these things, because I've tooled it that way to get you guys to the point you need to get, and then you make the changes that you want to make. You're so welcome. So now let's talk about atherosclerotic plaque. I almost was on Oz for my health, but flaked on the producer. Well, I'm not laughing at your poor health. I'm laughing at the only person that you flaked on was yourself. So the buck stops with us. On my program, and those of you that aren't know, there's a problem. The buck stops with me. It's not my internet guru, Andrew. It's not my IT person, my emails. It's me. Okay. So take responsibility, look in the mirror and say, my health problems are my responsibility. Next question is, what are you going to do about it? And is what you're doing working? Is it reasonable? So that being said, let me talk about plaquing. So let me make some distinctions. Hold on, I can do this. Well, Hey, fear is a good motivator. Understand this, Big Daddy. We only do things in life for two reasons: love and fear. Now, Amy, Annie, Mary, all the people that have done changes, major changes, have had those two emotions pushing them. Love and fear. That's right. So if you've got one of those, think of that as fuel for your furnace, your igniter. But now it's not about working hard and burning out. It's about applying principles that fundamentally will get you where you want to get. Hey, Donna, thanks for coming on. Love and fear. That's right. If those two emotions aren't involved in a plan that you have in some capacity, I can almost guarantee you your motivation will run out before the plan gets off the ground. So now, hey, E-Rock the King, let me explain atherosclerotic plaquing fundamentally. Okay. There's two types of blood vessels in the body. There's veins, which are very thin walled, no muscles, really, just almost like a real thin, flexible straw. And then arteries, which are muscular walls. Now, a lot of people think that the heart pumps all the blood. It doesn't. It pumps half, and the muscular arterial walls pump the other half. And they do that because they're flexible muscles. Okay? So the best way to understand the difference between the two is an artery is like a bungee cord. It's flexible and it's thick. And it squeezes the blood, just like the heart. So the heart's here and the arteries are here. And between the two of them, they pump the blood. Now, before anything else happens, the health begins to deteriorate cardiovascularly. Because remember, when you have health issues, rarely, if ever, does just one system get affected. All systems are affected, but there's one system that cries out more than the others. And let's say, for argument's sake, it's the cardiovascular system. What will happen is, oh, there's Chris, there's my wife. Hey. What will happen is a few things. Your blood pressure will rise. You'll be out of breath easily. All these other symptoms. Okay? Now, what happens is the arterial wall begins to lose its flexibility. It loses its health. And now it can't flex anymore as well as it could because it goes from a bungee cord to a straw. A straw is very rigid. And we've all drank out of a straw and it cracks and then we start getting in air and then it leaks a little bit. Well, that's a crude example, but it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Now, here's what happens. When that arterial wall loses its rigidity, it starts getting in little cracks. Medically, we call those cracks petechial hemorrhages. And you can look it up online. Petechial is Latin for crack. It gets these tiny little cracks in it because remember, it's a vessel that's designed to flex, but now it cannot because it's losing its health. So what happens is it's not big enough for red blood cells to spew out, but it's big enough for plasma to leak out. And that's where you'll see pooling in the belly, like a hard, round belly. That could be a cause of that. Also, a pitting edema, which is where you push your thumb into your ankle and you see a little indentation. That could be the cause of that as well. Now, here's what the body does in its brilliance, because the body is brilliant. Your body is saying, look, I don't have the health to improve the quality of this arterial wall, but I've got to stop this plasma from leaking. That's my water for life. That's my life's water. And what it does is begin to send little plaques to plaque up those cracks. So getting mad at arterial plaquing is like getting mad at firemen going to a fire. They're trying to stop a leak. So we think, well, I'll just go in there and roto-rooter it out. Well, you're not improving the health of the arterial wall. So when people say, oh, I got a 6-inch stent, you have hundreds of thousands of miles of blood vessels in your body. All they've done is they replaced one that they could get to that's probably the most important one, but they're all important. Do you see? So that's why I'm a big fan of this proarginine 9+, because it causes the nitric oxide effects, which won the Nobel Prize for Medicine for improving cardiovascular health. Do you see? It's all about improving the health of the vessel in the body. So we don't treat cardiovascular disease. Don't treat diabetes. That's why as a doctor of chiropractic, I can teach diabetes education, the first one in the state of California that I'm aware of. And I work for a company that's been hiring doctors that teach for 22 years. He said, we've never gotten approved for this ever. And my question is, you've probably never tried. You see? So does that kind of answer you guys' question on arterial plaquing and health of the vascular wall? Is there a reason for some of the NOx and arginine supplements? NOx, I'm not following you. No, my wife is making a shake. That's our new Vitamix. Smoothie time, see? Wow, this mic is so sensitive, huh? So did that help you guys understand cardiovascular and how it's important to improve the health? That's why, Amy, you'll notice your pitting is going away, and I've never treated you for your pitting edema. I've never treated you for your cardiovascular disorders. That's a cardiologist's bailiwick, not mine. Nitric oxide supplements, you know, I like the ProArginine 9 Plus because it's designed to do just that in a formula. And I actually met Dr. Matthew Tripp. I flew up to Utah and met with the head researcher one-on-one. I mean, this guy is like the top. He took half his day to meet with me, and you know, I picked his brain, and just a brilliant. He figured it out. Yeah. So see. Right. So we have to improve the health of the body, and a lot of these problems fade away. My body fat went down to 20%. There you go, Annie. That's what it's all about. In my work, whether it's my type 2 diabetes book, my Life Without Diabetes, or my Lean Body 360 program, they're designed to do the same thing. Well, it's not deleting plaque. It's improving the health of the cardiovascular wall so plaque becomes unnecessary. Do you see the difference? It's almost like same principle as someone who's a type 2 diabetic and their blood sugar is 400, but they start eating foods that have a low glycemic load and their blood sugar drops. Are we treating their blood sugar? No, we're removing foods that cause insulin expression. You can go to my website, georgekosmides.com, and go to tools, and there's a way you can get it. In fact, they just uploaded some new videos I made endorsing it. I don't endorse any products. Can you do that with cardio instead of supplements? Well, cardiovascular work is important. You know, I ride my bike about 60 miles a week, but you have to understand, exercise is a form of controlled trauma. You're traumatizing your body, and the body will rebuild and regenerate if proper sleep, proper nutrition, and this is going to sound strange, proper emotional state. So there's a lot of factors involved here. But it's important, but it's not in my top 5 things to do. So the gentleman that was on earlier, that's 300 pounds, you know, it's not about exercise. I don't even talk about that. Yeah, Amy went to the gym, but it's something I never pushed. She wants to go. I did squats for 3 hours on Halloween. I think that's ridiculous. Yeah, you want to look at the trauma that whatever you're doing does and what can you sustain over long-term, doc. So plasma causing fuels, but what effects bad cholesterol have on that? It's not about bad cholesterol, good cholesterol. We need LDL, HDL ratios. We need a good ratio. If your body doesn't take enough cholesterol, the liver will manufacture it. Do you understand? So don't get caught up in the finite numbers. Support your health on the... it's kind of like a business. Support the broad business base. Don't cherry pick at the top. Yeah, you can't exercise a bad diet. That's an excellent example. And Annie's a perfect, she's like another Amy. Something lit a fire underneath their behinds, and they said, I had enough. And it's not about the parties. And Annie and Amy, you guys can answer this if you want. More coconut oil, it just depends on where they're at. It's hard to tell, but coconut oil is definitely a good start. When they first got involved, maybe the first few weeks, I'm sure they had friends that were in their same health that tried to pull them away. Subconsciously, oh, come on, we can go to this party. Oh, come on, we'll go to Starbucks and drink a couple of lattes and have some donuts. Go to Lean Body 360 and sign up if that's what you want to do. Until then, it's all talk. You will get more support and more reasonable information than you've ever had in your life. And it's not because it's my program. The people that I've helped taught me the program by what they can do and what they couldn't do. Many people tried to deter me over the last few years. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they have. Yeah, we have a great support group. Lucretia's in it. A lot of the people, I'd say half the people on the scope are in my program. Many, I would say, even tried to sabotage my program. No question about it. Well, that's right. That's why I said there's myths and there's facts. That's why, I go by the peer-reviewed research that's out there. That, you can go to PubMed, you can go to the Lancet. It's free. And I think if you pay a couple $100 a year, you can get the full-blown research paper. But for the average consumer, I'm an open book. I talk about coconuts being used for IVs, and I used to get scoffed at. Go to PubMed. There's research papers that document it. It's not me. Go get it. If you go get it right now, I get a little flash on my screen that someone's got in. So it's all the way up to your choice. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, that's great too. It's all up to you. Perry 25 should still work. Smart scopes. I get a little bit, I'm never mad at anyone. I'm going to explain why stations are the wrong solution. Well, again, I'm not here to put down drugs. I'm the middle of the road kind of a guy. So if someone's not willing to make any lifestyle changes, there's all kind of synthetic ways to play with your numbers, but don't expect that's going to improve your health. Research doesn't support that. So that's why I can teach a doctor of chiropractic teaching on diabetes, because I'm research-based. Okay, if I was a DO or MD, does that make whatever I say true? It doesn't. You have to look at the research the person is spewing, saying, oh, that's reasonable and that's documented. Okay, now how can I get that research and apply it to my life? That's what I've been able to do. No question. Yeah. Again, my father's numbers were pretty much normal the last 10 years of his life, but he died of a massive cardiovascular event. So it's kind of like, I liken it to being in a loud room and having earmuffs on. And you say, oh, I don't hear too much. It's not so bad. But you're not really getting the full expression. So when you're taking synthetic things, and dare I say even some nutritional supplements, unless you're seeing health improvement, those numbers are skewed. That's why in my program, I don't talk about any supplements the first 4 or 5 weeks, because you have to get the fundamentals down first. Because here's what happens. You start taking a pro-arginine product or a good fundamental digestive aid, and you don't change your lifestyle, you don't get any benefit, all of a sudden those are no good. It's like Splenda will do what it's supposed to do, but it's bad for your pancreas. Well, it's not only bad for your pancreas. I mean, there's some hard research that actually... the name's eluding me right now, but the chemical for that actually begins to erode the optic nerve. People will use supplements as they crush it and waste it. That's right. That's pretty accurate. So that's why, I think about 4 weeks I start mentioning pro-arginine and things. Now that you've got your fundamentals and you've gained some momentum, maybe you've lost 1% or 2 of body fat, and you're in the swing of things. But it's not about weight loss pills. My mother-in-law sent me an email. I guess some company in Hawaii is being sued for selling weight loss pills. And I guess someone actually died or got in the hospital from them. Ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to try to go that route because they think it's going to be into a pill. It doesn't work that way. Believe me, and you guys are already making fun of me when I say this. I don't say these things happily. That's right. You got to work smart. It's not about training. It's not about I walked stairs and all this business. It's not. The amount of work involved in that's not going to get you the return that you want. Learning the basics, your lean body mass, what's your body fat percentage, not counting calories, not weighing your food, all that stuff. All that stuff will go by the wayside once you learn some basic principles. Usually by the end of your first week, your first couple of emails, and the getting in the group and hearing the coaching calls, it starts to click. I get this, I get this, I get this. And even people like Annie the nurse who, lost, I don't know, what'd you lose, Annie, 50, 60 pounds? She's still learning things from me, and she's still refining her approach, because the whole goal is, how can you get a lot of advantage with a minimum amount of work? This is what I'm striving to do. Work here and get here. Week 11, you get I think you get 6 days, so you get it about Saturday. I think Saturday night or Sunday morning. So the way my program works, if you join tonight, usually within over 100 pounds. If you join on the Monday, you'll get your first email within 24 hours. And then all your other emails are based on 6 days from that. So you don't always get an email the night before the coaching call. It doesn't work that way. It's based on when you got into the program. Yeah, see, so you're changing your muscle. That's right. And now, I don't know if you knew it back then, but now you're learning to support your lean muscle mass, which is absolutely key. You got to support that number. That's right. You tell them, Annie. That's right. Straighten me out. 100 pounds. Wow, that's impressive. Well, Amy's on her way. She's down to 310. So she's down, what, 45 pounds. Not plasma, plaque, I think you're talking about. I'm sorry, did all you guys understand my plaquing of the arterial wall example? Did that kind of make sense to you guys? Where the Y would be yes and the N would be no. Yeah. I was checking out your friend from yesterday's supplements company. Do you use those products? I use Synergy, I do. I use Core Greens, Chlorophyll, Pro-arginine, and the E9. So again, it's not about treating cardiovascular disease. It's improving the health of the arterial wall. That's the key. I will get it tomorrow. I need to straighten out my finances when I will. Okay, great. Wow. So see, something just clicks in these folks. And like I said, my program, even if you don't get a discount, it's like $5 a day, and you'll own that information for life, and you'll be involved at least a year to the coaching calls and the Facebook. Once you're in the Facebook group, you'll always be there. The only thing that may stop is the weekly emails, but you'll still have access to the coaching calls. You still have access to, information, my scopes, my videos, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure how to answer that, Kathy. Cholesterol is a normal element that your liver will manufacture, but media grabs onto it and they skew it. No, you'll still get me, just in different ways. I'm doing more videos and audios now, so we're going to set up a whole different platform. So we'll have Facebook and then a whole bigger members area. So not to worry. Any questions? I'm just going through my book. Any questions I didn't talk about with you folks? I think I covered. You guys are really smart. All of you guys are on my scope, so I'm very happy with the book. Is on Amazon. Yeah, just look for the cover. Type in my name. My name is at the bottom, right there, George Kosmides. And if you just George Kosmides me, Amazon, you'll get this book. It's the only blue covered diabetes book that they have. They have a lot of them there, but this is the only blue covered one. And it's a simple read. If you're going to get this for your uncle or your aunt, it's a real simple read. And I mean, there's meal plans and grocery lists and simple read. I think we're going to go to something called Add-on. It does all the things that one did, but it's about half the cost, and it's a little bit more user friendly. Red wheat berries. Make them like oatmeal. Cook them like you would groats. So if you don't have diabetes, this book absolutely can help. Because if you have metabolic syndrome or any weight issues, it teaches you the fundamentals of high and low glycemic foods. And I teach that as well in my lean body program. It's just a little bit different name, and there's a little bit more emphasis on body fat loss. Where this book is more emphasis on controlling your blood sugar, which is similar, but there's slight nuances. Just cook it like you would oatmeal. I am mid-40s. What slows down fat metabolism, and what supplements should I consider? I'm older than you, so our growth hormone starts getting knocked down by about 30. And by the time we're in our 40s, we're producing about 80% less than we did. And by the time you're my age, in my early 50s, we're producing about 90% less than, go ahead and hit a screenshot. Your bottom button and your side button, you'll see a little camera pop up. Whoops. You'll see a little camera pop up. That's it right there. There you go. Okay. So that Pro Arginine 9, Pro RG9 is what I take every night. That's what's in my cup, and it tastes like Kool-Aid, and it's a growth hormone releaser. And with this product alone, in the last 12 weeks, I've dropped a solid 5.5% body fat. Solid. So I'm really impressed. I have to start doing my Friday product reviews. You guys want me to start doing those again? I will. I'll pick a couple products. I'll showcase the Pro Arginine and the E9. And again, for those of you guys that are first time on my scope, you're starting to think about making a change. Focus on making one or two major changes a week. Don't try to change everything overnight. It's not going to happen. It's not reasonable. You're going to be disappointed emotionally. Okay, being mindful is the first step. Okay, you need to change. Okay, great. Next step is, okay, what element are you going to pick out? If you drink, if you smoke, are you going to think about reducing it? Just take a realistic look at yourself. And in my program, I go through it with you, and I don't give you a ton of stuff. My program is unique that you don't get everything at once. You get it dripped to you over the weeks. 1 week, and you can go back and re-review, but you can't go forward. Marijuana is more of a personal choice. I mean, if you said to me you did that and you drank alcohol, I would say, cut down both of them, but definitely focus on the alcohol. I haven't read any research that cannabis does anything except obviously affect the lungs if you're smoking it. But we know alcohol does all sorts of negative things. So, okay, well, if you're 300 pounds, you're doing something. You don't get that heavy just by thinking about eating bad. You're doing some actions, and some of it, well, that's fine, but that smoking pot in and of itself isn't going to put you to 300 pounds. You follow me? It shouldn't be the crucible of all your problems. Well, then just stop that. I'm not trying to be a wiseacre. I talk to Amy the same way. Get a tissue for your issues, move past it, and do something functional. Well, you really have to want to. The need has been there for years. But the question is, what are you willing to do? What's it worth to you? I had one patient when I first started getting into this work. I still remember his name. His name was David Petticourt. He's passed away. He was a Korean bronze and a gold star. This bronze star and a silver star in the Korean War. He was a patient of mine. And he was a chiropractic patient. I was in practice for like 4 years. And I started taking night courses by a doctor personally training me, charging me an arm and a leg to teach me how to tie in, hey David, try to tie in nutrition with acupuncture because I just got back from China. Hey doc. And he said, I know you can help my heart. I know you can help me. So he went out and took out a loan at his bank, which amazed me, to do all these things I wanted him to do. And he got better. And I'll tell you what, this person still amazes me to this day. After he finished this, he went through a 3-month program. I went one-on-one with him, and he got appreciably better, did great. But he would come to my office the day before he saw me as a program patient and would sweep my floors and empty my trash. And I'm like, David, what are you doing? He said, no, I feel so much better. I feel like I owe you this. I said, but you've already paid for your program. And it meant that much to him. So I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying if you want something bad enough with your health, there's got to be a responsibility and a commitment there somewhere. You have to pull that motivation from somewhere. Fear, love, I don't care what it is. Yeah, and I think, I'm humbled that Amy feels the same way. I mean, people ask me all the time. I get emails. I don't get so much anymore, but I was getting 1 or 2 a week. Did Amy pay for your product? How much did you give her? Did you give her the program? Amy paid for the program just like everybody else. Why she's so adamant about me and the work that I do is it just clicked with her, and it's the first time I think in her life that she's been battling obesity for probably 8 or 10 years that it clicked. Okay, excellent. My doc was impressed with my weight loss and blood pressure today, 110/66. Hey, whoop, whoop, whoop. That's a, that's a celebration right there. And guess who earns that celebration? Trish. You see, she earned that by following the same focus. Remember, for you guys that are on the program, you get it now, but we had to retrain those pathways. You wanted to go down this way like you used to. You do that. I will pay 100% you have. Yeah. My dad told me something a long time ago I used to be so furious at him about. Because I was in school and he was always asking when I'm going to graduate. And, I was in school for almost 8.5 years. And he's like, show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. Whether you work with me or not, if you're committed to make a change in your health, you got to do it. Being boxing for 3 months, only lost 3 pounds, but feel better than before. Being boxing. I don't understand. You're a boxer? Yeah, and I posted something in my Facebook group, enough is enough. I mean, these people have just had enough. Learning boxing. Okay, it's a pretty traumatic sport. Get it, Big Daddy. Thank you. Yeah, no carbonated beverages. But see, my program is totally reasonable. Like I said, I try to design the program to meet you guys where you're at. And I don't want to say I see the worst of the worst, but I've seen people with blood sugar over 800. That's nothing to balk about. My sport is talking. Doc, hate soda is the first step. Yes, Annie. What question do you have for me? I was in Taekwondo 2010. What is your thought on bariatric surgeries? Well, I'll give you an example. I talked about this before. How many of you guys remember the Hawaiian, he sang the song Over the Rainbow? The sweetest voice. What's it? Hold on. What's his name? Israel. Kamaka Iga Ole. Kamaka Bila Ole. Viva Ole. Kamaka Viva Ole. Okay. This guy had a voice that was like, this transcended generations. Beautiful person. He died, I think he was 31. And I think he was over 600 pounds. In that case, he needed a bariatric surgeon desperately and a lean body program. That's right, a lean body program to keep him correct. Because just because you're going to lose the weight, it doesn't translate into him being healthy. I'm traveling in nursing and sometimes work bariatric floor, but many of the patients. Well, again, they're looking for a pill or a quick fix. And, in some patients' mind, and you see this, if my insurance covers it, it must be okay. Do you see? The MUA procedure is probably, it's a couple $1,000s, but the worth was there for me. So just because the insurance covers it, does that mean it's going to be a fix? Or I have someone that works with me. He needs oral surgery. Oral surgery is not going to fix his dental problem. He's got to get his health back first, and then if he gets the surgery, he'll do so much better. No quick fixes. I want to work on. You'll learn more in the Lean Body 360 program in 12 weeks than you've learned your whole life. Not because I'm so smart, please. I've built my work on geniuses like Dr. Weil, Dr. Atkins, Chopra, Bernard Jensen. So many doctors have contributed to my book and to my program. Bye-bye. Bye, Lucretia. Let's see what time is it, guys. Okay, I'm going to wrap up my scope tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be on tomorrow night that's right, I work tomorrow night.
No, you don't scope on Friday.
Yeah, I won't scope on Fridays, but I tell you what I am going to do. I am going to scope my my class on Saturday morning. I'll start about 7 a.m. So I'll have my diabetes continuing education class where you'll see me on the Periscope. And it'll be like 4 hours, but I'll have it be hardwired so you guys can hear the class, and it'll also be on catch.me. So Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. Hope you've learned something from this scope. I'm in your corner. I'm a person just like you, and I wish you all the best and good night. Bye-bye.